Okay, hello. Happy Monday. We are back with virtual learning. Um, and as I am looking through all this stuff, I realize that so much of my stuff is at school. So I'm going to apologize in advance because I just don't have everything that I need. So we're going to make it work and we're going to start with reading today. So we are reading the story called Because of Winn-Dixie. And I'm not sure. So I wasn't at school on Thursday, so I didn't get all this stuff ready, unfortunately. Um, so I got it dropped off to me. So I think I have what you have, but maybe I don't. However, the story packet that we got, at least what I got, does not have the beginning of chapter 1. So we're not going to read chapter 1, but to give a little background on chapter 1, this story is about a girl and a dog. Okay, she is in a grocery store. The girl's name is Opal. She is in the grocery store and she sees a dog running around, and she names the dog Winn-Dixie because that's the name of the grocery store. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see if I remember how to do this. Shoot, how do I do this? Okay, you should be able to see my screen, but this is Because of Winn-Dixie. Okay, so here's the dog. This is Winn-Dixie, and this is Opal, the girl. She lives with her dad, and he is a preacher at a church, somebody who runs the church. So she calls him preacher. So when you hear preacher, she's really talking about her dad. Okay. So unfortunately, I don't have that first chapter, but that's what it is. Okay. So Winn-Dixie, and this is Opal right here. Okay. Now let me go back to not sharing my screen. Okay. So I am going to read the rest of chapter 1 because this is what I have. Okay, so we're going to kind of get an idea and then we'll go into chapter 2. The other thing that I don't have that you have are the comprehension questions in the story. So all I'm going to be able to do is read the chapters and then leave it to you to answer the comprehension questions. Okay, I'm really, really sorry. Totally not in my plan at all, and I wish that's not how it had to be. Okay, so let me read the rest of chapter 1. You can follow along with me. It is on page 94. 94. It says, once they were outside, she looked the dog over and could tell that he was a stray because he did not have a collar and needed a bath. Okay, so a stray dog is a dog that does not have a home, that has run away from home, does not have an owner, okay, has no place to go home at night. Really sad. Okay, she knew this because he did not have a collar on and he really needed to take a bath. He was a big, or he, oh yeah, he was with big bald patches in his fur. He could smile and wag his tail. Winn-Dixie was brown, ugly, skinny, and he stunk. India told him that they would go home and see what the preacher said about this smiling dog. India Opal found a dog. Okay, so her name is India Opal. Later on in the story, I think she just goes by Opal. But in the chapter that we don't have, it says that she was named India Opal because she was born in a place named India. Okay? So read this part with me. It says, India Opal found a dog. I want you to read that. India Opal found a dog. Okay, so now you can pause me and answer those first chapter 1 questions if you can, based on this. If there's questions that we don't know, truly just skip them and go to chapter 2. I really apologize. Okay, chapter 2. Let's remember that her dad is the preacher. Okay, they're going to explain that in this story. Chapter 1, she was at the grocery store and she found Winn-Dixie, the dog. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 2. India Opal and her father, the preacher, okay, so her dad is the preacher, had moved to Naomi, Florida earlier that summer. India Opal always called him the preacher because he was always thinking about preaching. Before she was born, he was a missionary in India, and that was how she got her name. How perfect! It tells us that now, okay? The preacher did not call her India Opal, though. He called her by her middle name, Opal. Okay, I'm glad all of what I'm saying is coming to truth here. Opal and Winn-Dixie walked to the trailer park where she lived. Okay, so they lived in a trailer park. That's where her home was. She told him all about her and her father. And she explained he would have to behave because elderly people lived in the trailer park. Okay, so she's telling this to the dog, that the dog has to behave because there's old people that live there and they might not like him. Winn-Dixie sat outside while Opal went in and talked to the preacher. She said she knew people were supposed to help those who were less fortunate, and she asked if one of the less fortunate could stay with them for a while. Okay, so she went home to talk to her dad and said she wants somebody to live with them because they don't have a home. They don't have what they have, and she wants to help them. But she didn't tell her dad that he was a dog. Okay? Preacher doesn't know that it's a dog yet. Read this part with me. It says, Winn-Dixie needed a home. Read that. Winn-Dixie needed a home. When the preacher found out the less fortunate that she was talking about was a dog, he said no. But when Opal let Winn-Dixie in the trailer, he put his head in the preacher's lap and smiled. The preacher scratched Winn-Dixie behind the ears and told him he had a new home. Read this with me. Winn-Dixie needed a home. Okay, so the dog Winn-Dixie went back to the house with Opal. Opal went inside to tell her dad that she had found somebody that needed a home. She didn't tell her dad it was a dog until she did, and he said, no way, Jose, I am not having a dog come in my house. And then Winn-Dixie came running through the house, went up to the preacher, gave him a little hug and a smile, and then the preacher said, okay, you can live with us, you have a home. Okay, so the preacher gave Winn-Dixie a home, and Winn-Dixie is now their dog. Do you have a dog? I don't have a dog. I wish I did. My husband says, no way, but maybe one day I'll get one. Okay, so now you can answer the questions to chapter 2. Okay? Pause me, do whatever you have to do, answer those questions, and then I will see you in a little bit for math.